Good morning, fantasy sports fans. It is us, the DFS Hangover Show by Draft for Upside. I am Johnny Danger. With me, as always, on Mondays, Chris Big Score Emmerich. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. I've got some stuff to talk about today, so I won't feel lost, and I know you do too. And I'm excited to get to the nitty gritty.
I love it. Don't mind the extra noise off of my mic. I am broadcasting live from one of our top 5 accounts here at Witch's Hat Brewing Company. I am at Lake Street Tavern down in South Lyon, Michigan, just a couple blocks from the brewery. Checking in on my man Matt, who runs the place, and making sure that their $5 burger special is still delicious. And, of course, draft quality for Train Hopper, our number 1 beer, and their number 1 selling craft beer. So all important things.
Sounds like some quality control. It's always the toughest part of the business, but I think you got it handled here.
Absolutely nobody from the company wants to do it. It's the worst job, but so I just have to travel around to make sure that the beer tastes good and the food tastes good everywhere that we partner with. It's really tedious. It's very difficult, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. So you have a trade proposal, I hear, in one of your lineups, or one of your seasonal teams, I should say. So tell me about it. Let's break her down.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting situation. It is a offer of me sending out one Justin Verlander, and in return, getting back Austin Meadows. Now, on the surface, that looks pretty bad, right? Initially, I was like, no, I'm not interested in that. Let me go ahead and take a look at what I need versus, what this gives me, what I lose, things of that sort.
However, in reality, Austin Meadows has owned Justin Verlander this year. So really, that's a great deal.
Well, let me put it to you this way. So far, I have lost my home run matchup out of the 7 weeks 5 times. I've lost my RBI 3 times. Stolen bases, I've lost 3 times. This is it's not a top team. It's a struggling team. Average is lost 4 times. OPS, I've lost 6 times. My hitting has struggled, despite having a pretty interesting group of hitters. And it's hard to kind of pinpoint where I would improve. Outfield being probably my biggest area that I could build on. So, from a pitching standpoint, though, I have dominated in wins, 5-1-1. Saves, I'm 2-3-2. This has no bearing or impact on that. I am 2-4-1 in Ks and 5-2 in ERA, 5-2 in WHIP. This is going to hurt my WHIP. It's going to hurt my ERA. Probably going to hurt my wins and certainly hurt my Ks, but it's going to help everything else. Aside from saves, of course. Now, I went ahead and I looked at this other team and tried to kind of figure out what kind of counter offer I can make and, who I liked better. And he has Chris Bryant. Initially, just on rankings alone and the type of hitter he is and the season that he's having, I thought that might be a better option. But I'm not sure that it is. When you look at it, Chris Bryant doesn't have quite the batting average. The home runs are only 2 more. And certainly he has more runs and RBIs, but he's also had 50 more plate attempts because Austin Meadows was out for a long time. The question is how much does that batting average suffer with 50 more at-bats? And, what are the other numbers that go in? Chris Bryant's also going to play in Wrigley for half his games in the summer, whereas Austin Meadows is going to play half his games in Tropicana. So, I'm not sure where I go with this. He also has George Springer, but I don't think I'm going to get George Springer back for Verlander. Probably just not going to happen.
These are all good questions. I mean, obviously we all love Verlander. For me, the risk for pitchers getting injured is always high. So if I can get a close enough return back for a stud pitcher, I'm usually lean towards going ahead with it if you feel like you're going to be okay the rest of the way. But is Austin Meadows enough on his own is what you're asking? Or do you want to add somebody, or do you want to switch to either Bryant or one of the other guys?
Yeah, that's the question is, do I bump this up? Maybe do I get, another pitcher back in return? Somebody like just somebody like a throw-in, like a Tyler Mahle, who's certainly suspect, but has had some really nice outings that make you question, has he turned a corner? Or a guy like Rick Porcello that is going to have some blow-up games, but he's going to have some gems too. I believe he has Quintana and a couple other guys. I mean, his pitching staff is decent enough that I don't think that he would miss some of those lower tier guys. So it's just kind of or do I just stay where I'm at, and try and improve it? To give you an idea, the team that I have.
Who's on the waiver? Who's on the waiver there that you could move around? Is there anybody worthwhile?
Not well. So look, this is the situation that I have. So we're talking about my offensive deficiencies. I've got Jason Castro and Mitch Garver manning my catcher spot. So Castro is holding it down while Garver's on the DL. But then I got Joey Gallo, Tommy LaStella, Rafael Devers, Gene Segura, Jonathan VR. My outfielders are Mazzara, Domingo Santana, Jared Dyson. Utility is Max Kepler, Edwin Carcignon. I have on my bench Sogard, Swanson Goodwin, and Donaldson. So
it's not terrible, but you definitely could use an offensive upgrade for the outfield. Definitely. So does Chris Bryant qualify for outfield still?
He does, but I mean, here's the thing: is who am I upgrading? If you look at Domingo Santana, he's suffered since. I think he's the guy that you end up upgrading because while he has 8 home runs on the year, those all came like in the first 2 weeks. A guy like Mazzara has really, really struggled, but I wouldn't necessarily want to get rid of a guy like Mazzara because we're just getting into the hot months, and he's going to play in Arlington, and he's going to get a bunch of home runs as just a result of not only being protected in that lineup, but also in the environment in which he's going to play. Dyson's there for the steals. Max Kepler, I think, is going to have a better rest of the season than he has so far. So,
but also a guy I could live without if you're getting a nice upgrade.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you get a guy like Chris Bryant in there, you could drop Kepler and feel pretty darn good about that. So I have 2 theories here, man, is that I look at Austin Meadows and I look at him and I think, is he that big of an upgrade where he's going to be an automatic start over all those guys? And I don't think he is. I mean, I think he's a matchup start over a few of them. He's probably a start for me over Santana until Santana gets back on a hot streak. So for me, I think I go back, and if you're interested in getting rid of Verlander, I don't think it's that bad of an idea to go back and say, all right, you can have Verlander, I want Chris Bryant, and see where that leads. And if he comes back with a no, then okay, let's go back and look at Austin Meadows, but now I need Porcello or I need Quintana or somebody back because Austin Meadows is not going to give you the impact that Verlander does. So you got to get something back. So because Meadows is going to be a little bit better than Santana and obviously better than Max Kepler, but you need something back to fill in some of those innings that Verlander eats up.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, though, Austin Meadows is batting .337 with 9 home runs, and, he has 50 less plate attempts than Chris Bryant. So,
but as Lenny likes to say, a rookie is a rookie is a rookie.
Sure. I mean, I would be more worried about him next year, but he had, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing to consider. This is the league that I am in with you. This is your league, as a matter of fact. So there's the keeper aspect of it.
True story. All right, now I like what you're talking about here because I'm going to pull up my lineup here because my team's middling right in the middle as well. Maybe we could work something out on the air.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at your lineup. Nothing popped out, but you could shoot me some offers.
Well, I might not need Verlander either. I might help you in the outfield and not need Verlander back. Let's take a peek. So you keep going. Let me pull up my team.
Where I'm going with this, for everybody that's listening, it is a keeper league, and there is going to be an impact on where a player was drafted. So the later somebody was drafted and the more valuable that they are, a better situation that we have. So a guy like Austin Meadows was drafted in the 10th round. That's going to cost me like a round 7 pick?
Correct.
Is that right? A round 7 or round 8?
Round 7. You lose 3 rounds.
So a round 7 pick, to give you an idea of who was picked in round 7 this year, was David Price, Justin Upton, A.J. Pollock, Odor, Jose Ramirez was probably, he was a keeper, Castellanos, Travis Shaw, Buster Posey, Aguiar, Marquez, Winker, Donaldson. Man, that was a tough round for people in this league.
Yes.
I am looking at that and saying, who kind of won that? Probably Marquez or Jesse Winker, maybe Josh Donaldson. Man, that was tough. You got AJ Pollock and Reuven Odor. So, man, it was
a good round for me. I mean, Odor is gonna bounce back and give me the value I need, and then of course Pollock got instantly injured, so I haven't seen much from him this year. But hopefully when he comes back, he'll be a force in that Dodgers lineup. But yes, I've gotten 2 home runs out of him on the year because he only got 103 plate appearances before he was out.
So the other side of this coin is Chris Bryant was a 2nd round pick.
Sure.
So, that plays a factor into it.
Was Verlander a keeper or not?
I don't believe that he was.
Yeah, so if Verlander wasn't the keeper, he probably can't be kept next year. So if you're going to get so Bryant wasn't the keeper, so that does add, or subtract value from Bryant because he wasn't the keeper, so he's not able to be kept.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
I'm sure he went in the top 3 rounds. So if he went in the top 3 rounds, he will not be able to be kept. So you don't have to worry about value on the back end of the deal. Where if he was a value of like a 12th round pick next year, you'd have to compensate the other guy for that.
No, he was taken in the 2nd round. He wasn't a keeper. There was actually nobody in the top 3 rounds that was a keeper. The earliest keeper of anybody was my Edwin Diaz in round 4. Kind of strange, but given the value that I had in my team, I didn't really have a lot of viable options at keeper, and that kind of solved my save situation for a while.
Sure. Well, if you want a less blockbuster of a trade, my friend, I mean, I am pretty much open to trading anyone out of my outfield. The only one that really has any value keeper-wise is Juan Soto, because I can keep him in like the 19th round next year. But I'm in last place. I sold everything last year to make a run at the playoffs, and didn't work. Got beat, and I gave away my 2nd, my 3rd, my 5th, and my 6th round picks, I believe. So I knew I was going to ride the bench this year. So.
Yeah, well, let's go take a look at what you have here.
I mean, I just got rid of J.D. Martinez for Trevor Bauer and Mike Moustakas and a swap. So I moved up from my 6th round to a 3rd round pick. So I'm already in the get better for next year or move up a draft pick phase because I'm in 12th place. I have tied once this year, and I have lost every other matchup.
Yeah, so there's just not a lot on your team that I'm that I can see as helping me in the situation that I need. I mean, you have some outfielders, but I'm not huge on Jock. I'm not huge on Jay Bruce. I do really like Mancini, but I'm not sure what you would want for Mancini. And from a pitching standpoint, Soraka and Martin Perez are interesting, but I do have some middle infielders and some depth, but that seems where you're strong too. So, relatively. Well,
relatively, yeah. If Vlad Jr. Starts hitting like Vlad, then I'm feeling pretty good. But we'll see what happens. No, man. I mean, we'll talk more, I'm sure, throughout the day if we're interested in making a trade. I mean, pretty much everybody on my lineup is for sale. I need to get better for next year, so I need to be mindful of my keepers because I can't get away from too much keeper value. Because if I want to rebound next year, I'll have to have that value. But a guy like Trey Mancini, definitely on the block. I mean, he's going to have good keeper value because I think he's kind of blossomed, and I'm pretty sure I got him fairly late. I can't remember where I drafted him, if I even drafted him. It might have been a waiver wire pickup, although we were pretty high on him in our drafts, or at least I was. I know when we talked through our draft, I was big on him. But yeah, I have no reason to hold on to Martin Perez or Soroka or Carrasco, any of those guys. I'm fine with parting with. So, maybe we will have something to talk about. But if I were you, yeah, man, I mean, I would say, hey, Verlander for Bryant and just see what the guy comes back at. I don't think that's a bad trade. I think that's a great trade.
Yeah, I mean, I might go after like a Porcello O'Malley or even like a Steven Matz or something like that
sure.
on the back end coming back. So,
yeah.
I might even be able to finagle a John Gray. I don't know how he feels about John Gray. That's the whole thing. It just depends on how people feel about some of these guys. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, if you